Filipino Catholicism. Despite the Philippines' religious variety, Roman Catholicism is the largest religion, practiced by 85% of the people. This profound convergence of the religious and cultural rituals has spread to America, where the majority of Filipino immigrants remain. Catholic ideas continue to inform beliefs throughout Filipino society, such as the sanctity of life and respect for hierarchy. Like most Catholics, many Filipinos accepted the authority of the priesthood in the Roman Catholic Church, which is led by the Pope. Many Filipino Catholics attended Mass and services on a regular basis in order to incorporate virtues into their everyday life. Based on scripture and church teachings, one frequent cultural expression of Filipino is saying, "Bahala na," as a way to normalize and cope with life challenges. Both "bahala na" and "utang na loob" express Filipino cultural virtues pertaining to care for meaning and practices that have an important relationship to religion for Filipinos. Second is the family orientation. In the Philippines, relationship between husband and wives and between men and women in general are more equal than in many other cultures and communities. In the Philippines, extended family such as grandparents, uncles, nephews, and nieces are frequent in households. The Filipino family is residentially nuclear but functionally extended. This means that the home is often nuclear in nature, but the family is extended in terms of lies among members of the larger kin group. Members of the same kin group help one another in times of need and take part in joint family activities. Close familiar relationship extended beyond genetic ties or bloodlines to include distant cousins, close neighbors, or acquaintances. People frequently use family terminology to refer distant relatives such as tita, tito, lula, and lulu. Filipinos are well known for their strong and intimate familiar relationships. The third is respect for others. Respect for elders is distinguished custom in every Filipino household. Pagmamano is a Filipino gesture of respect shown to elders by young people. The most popular greeting gesture is mano, which is commonly translated as bless in English. The person presenting a mano will stoop towards the presented hand and push their forehead against it. It's similar to kissing a hand, although the mano gesture is still extensively used. Some Filipinos substitute the beso-beso motion, a cheek-to-cheek kiss. Aside from this, you can hear in the Philippines saying po and opo. These are the words that Filipinos are using to show their respect when taking the elders or to someone that they respect. If younger people learn to respect and value seniors, it gives seniors more of a role to play in a family life and in the community. Learning to respect seniors also can help young people deal with their own aging later in life. The fourth is malasakit. The buwan ng pagbansa, wika, or the month of commemorating the Filipino language, focusing on the beautiful word, malasakit. An approximate definition might be here, something like it's were one's own. It may be intended to another Filipino word, pakikialam, or getting involved. Malasakit or being compassionate in our Filipino social manifested in certain situations such as reaching out to others during times of disaster, opening our doors during special such as fiestas, while mulling about other companion values to accompany malasakit in the vision to achieve pagbabago, a value that has been manifested by the average Filipino but which has not been strengthened to become a national value. This is the value of being steadfast, sturdy, or resolute. The value of tiyaga has been manifested during the times of major crises such as disaster. The fifth is nationalism and patriotism. Nationalism and patriotism are often used interchangeably, meaning one for the other. Nationalism etymologically means love, care for, preservation, and patronage of one's native land and everything in it, the country of birth of national, whether it be Filipino or otherwise. To be a Filipino nationalist, therefore, the ethical ramification of nationalism must all be presented in one's being. It implies a heartfelt dedication for the love, care, and preservation of the Philippines in the Philippines and everything that is identified with it. The Philippine territorial, the inhabitants, sovereignty, its government, all things that represent and symbolize the country, the aspirations, hope, dreams, and needs of the Filipino people. Resiliency. What does it mean to be resilient? Depending on the context, it could be to engineering or ecological resilience, defined as the ability of a systematic to resist external shocks. The Center of Climate or Energy Solutions defines climate resilience as the ability to anticipate, prepare for, and respond to hazardous events. Resiliency is not something new to Filipinos. This romanticizing resilience and the places the burden or on individuals in the absence of the central planning and investing in the climate adaptation infrastructure. It is the high time for the government to have a concrete plans to support hazards mitigation and climate actions. Seven is the flexibility, adaptability, joy, and humor. Adapting quickly and effectively to COVID-19 is a challenging countries throughout Asia. The Pacific civil society groups have shown they are particularly valuable in the ongoing effort. Many have demonstrated their abilities to respond to the changing needs of the poorest and many have demonstrated the changing poorest and most vulnerable while maintaining the rigor of their development approach. It is important to cooperate with civil society organizing for the range of reasons, including to tap their local knowledge, to build on their expertise, and to gain different perspectives to address these challenges. In addition, this organization and often have the ability to dynamic situations and to understand local needs. Joy and humor. Filipino use humor as an intervention or a mechanism to divert stress resulting from problems and setbacks. Filipino humor also serves as a social glue that bonds every Filipino who share the same experiences in the face of any crisis. Shared goals, review, and circumstances pave the way to how Filipino interact and socialize with their sense of humor. It is hard work, industry, and stewardship. So our strong faith in God carries us through hardships, to be personal difficulties or bad situations. Says Donna Apuhon, it is a she is the property sales consultant. Filipino are known to be hardworking multitaskers. The compositions of the gross domestic product or GDP is broadly split among the agriculture, industrial, and service sectors. The industrial sector has made a fair and sustained contribution to the GDP of the Philippines over the years, reaching almost 45% during the 1980s and dropping to less than 28% in 2021. There are reports that predict some companies are set to relocate their production from China, their traditional base, to the Philippines and neighbor countries in the Southeast Asia. The Philippines is also richly endowed with metallic resources, and the country has attracted many foreign companies to its land. 9 is the shared identifier, kapwa. Kapwa is recognition of a shared identity, an inner self shared with others. It means connecting myself with others, self, myself, and the other, and having a sense of shared identity and shared inner self. That sense of having a common human identity, community, and destiny, and a shared inner self. 10 is the inner perception, pakikiramdam. Pakikiramdam is often described as an important shared inner perception that complements the shared identity of kapwa. It is the emotional fire that goes with the Filipino personhood. Because of kapwa, this Pinoy feeling of pakiramdam is participatory process where the emotions tend to be experienced mutually. Lastly is the shared humanity, a parallel reading of the meanings of the two critical words, ganda and loob. Support this understanding of kagandahang loob, while ganda is mainly used in Filipino in the expression of artistic judgment. It is also used as an expression of positive ethical judgment since kagandahan loob is externally manifested in actions beneficial to others. What usually catches kagandahang loob is external manifested in actions beneficial to others. Catches purple attentions are such manifestations. This is Vince Chanling and thank you for watching.